China's lawmakers have ended their annual session, some 3,000 delegates casting their votes in Beijing on resolutions on a plethora of policies in the immediate short term and the longer term. A long-stated shift to domestic consumption reinforced this restatement of commitment to even greater self-reliance, particularly in tech at the highest end. Also passed by lawmakers, a new ethnic law to, quote, promote ethnic unity and progress, with the use of Mandarin Chinese to be given prominence in schools, business, and public spaces. China has 56 officially recognized ethnic groups, and rights groups fear a law like this one could further marginalize ethnic minorities who do not have Mandarin Chinese as their native language. Taiwan is raising concerns over this legislation.
那这部法律虽然它比较重点是摆在对于中国境内有非常多的少数民族但我们也还是会看到说，因为它涉及了境外，然后也提到了要推进民族的团结跟国家的统一所以当然也有可能就会把这个当成是法律基础，然后外溢到来去变成是处理两岸问题的一个法律依据。
And CNA correspondent Si Hui joins us live from Beijing. Si Hui, the annual Liang Hui, we pay a lot of attention to it, and Chinese businesses as well, because they look to it to see where and how they can align their own business practice with government policy. What would businesses be taking away from, say, the official growth target set by China at this Liang Hui?
I mean, we've heard the headlines, we know the figures, and that is an important question. How does those measures and policies trickle down to the everyday people, for businesses and households? And so when we look at the GDP growth target of between 4.5 and 5%, it is really a signal to businesses that it wants sustainable growth, not explosive growth anymore, but a moderate growth. And so it's a shift from scale expansion to efficiency and margins. And also we've heard from the 15th five-year plan, and that is the economic blueprint for the next 5 years. And you mentioned earlier as well, technological innovation that is at the forefront of this 5-year plan. They want to increase technological self-reliance. And so businesses can expect targeted policies. This could include a fundraising ecosystem to boost demand for high-tech products. And then now we look at the households. For the 15th five-year plan, boosting domestic consumption is also a key priority. But instead of the focus on boosting consumption of goods, they're moving towards boosting consumption of services. And this could be seen in services sectors such as elder care, healthcare, education, and tourism. And so households could expect a reduction in funding when it comes to the goods trade-in scheme, whereby people can trade in their old TV sets or computer sets and buy new ones. And so there will be a reduction in funding for that. But experts say that the increase in consumption, it will take a while. In fact, they say that it could possibly take about a decade to see domestic consumption improve.
All right, so this annual meeting of both the NPC and the CPPCC, these are immaculately choreographed sessions. Or even so, what's happening every day in the larger world, China would be paying attention and taking account of that. Did you see any impact of what's happening in the larger world on what went on in these meetings in Beijing this time?
Definitely, what's happening around the world has made quite an impact on this year's two sessions. Some of them were not immediately explicitly stated, especially in the opening ceremony of Chinese Premier Li Qiang, but he did talk about evolving developments at home and abroad. Chinese Foreign Minister also mentioned this Iran conflict during his press conference. He's saying that the Middle East conflict should never have happened. He's trying to put a message forward that China can be seen as a mediator in this conflict, can be seen as a stabilizing force amid all of this uncertainty. And of course, every two sessions, the world's largest economy is also mentioned. The U.S.-China relations, there were a lot of veiled swipes at the U.S. when it came to the economic pressures, the foreign affairs pressures, explicitly mentioned at Chinese Premier Li Qiang's speech at the National People's Congress opening. He did say that the U.S. global tariffs have made quite a bit of an impact on Chinese economy. The Foreign Affairs Minister Wang Yi did not go too far. He had a more measured tone, especially since U.S. President Donald Trump is expected to visit China at the end of the month, something that we are looking forward very much to.
Oh, thanks. CNA's Tan Si Hui looking at the key highlights from Wang Yi's speaking to the press on the weekend. I think it was the last few days. Thanks so much. CNA's Tan Si Hui reporting live there from Beijing.